So now we will add more details to this image, and that should help to bring the image even more together. And Calvin Hollywood, he calls this technique freaky amazing details, and he also did an English tutorial about this that you will find in YouTube. And this technique is really amazing, so he's completely right. So once more, to apply this technique, we have to create 2 new layers, and I will bring it together with Shift-Alt-Command-E, and then with Command-J I will just duplicate this layer. And this time we do it a little bit different than here. We also had these 2 layers, but it was a different technique, so don't get confused. So for that I group now these layers together and can just drag them back into my folder here. And we will change now this group blending mode from pass through into overlay. So that's the first step. Now I will open this group again, and now we will have a look at our first layer. And this one we also have to invert, so with Command and I, this will be now inverted, and then I bring it back through my blending modes into Vivid Light. So all the way down here, Vivid Light. And from here I will bring in now another blurriness like we did before with the surface blur. So into filter, blur, and the surface blur that is here right at the end. And again, you can play here now with the radius. So before we had this really increased threshold because we wanted a lot of contrast, but this time we don't really want that. So we want to bring this down maybe 10 to 20 or something like that. It's again, it depends a little bit on your image where you want to play with, but we want to concentrate more onto the details and the sharpness on the image overall, and not so much playing with the contrast. So I would say probably a threshold of, let me see, maybe 15 would be quite nice. And then the radius, that obviously also depends a little bit on your image. You can see this surface blur is quite demanding, and Photoshop makes then a lot of noises here in my computer. So let me see, maybe something like 30 or something like that. Yeah, I think that should be pretty nice. And now we just go OK. And if you see now the before and after, so before and after, and I think Calvin is right when he says this is freakingly amazing, because now we have even more detail in the face and in the jacket. And again, if this would be maybe a little bit of a different outfit, like jeans or something, I mean there are jeans, but I kind of cut them off, then it's very interesting because you have then all this shine and all of those highlights in there, and it's definitely interesting. Once more, it adds more of this kind of dodge and burn, but obviously not so extreme, because this wasn't really about the contrast, it was more about those details overall. So again, you can also always say this is too crazy, I want to reduce this a little bit, or you could you can mask it out over this texture here, for example. That's up to you. So I think for me this looks interesting, like kind of like an illustrative look. But maybe we just keep it a little bit more realistic and say 50 should be okay here. So I think, let me zoom in one more time. So just before, that's the after. I especially like it in the face, maybe on the eyes. Maybe I just copy this whole group once more, and then I will mask everything out and only apply it over the eyes as well with my white color. And then I can bring this out maybe even more, and maybe even here around the beard. So let me see what that's like before and after. It's subtle, you probably won't even see it, but I think this looks now very interesting. And overall, if we just see what we've done so far, that was our original image, and this is now with the texture and all of these techniques. So I think the image style, all the stylization, that definitely fits together, but I'm still not very happy with the color tone overall. That's why in the next tutorial I will show you more ways how you can achieve interesting color tones.